Yes, that's right, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV, and yes, that's right, there is no wind at all. So the big question is, can we sail in no wind? And the second part of the question is, how fast can we go? There's just enough wind to lift the wind indicators on the front, so I'm guessing that's like 2 knots maximum of wind. So to get going, I'm just going to give the boat a little boost and then jump on. Okay, and then I just want to get the battens on the right side in the sails. So I think if the wind indicators weren't moving at all, then we'd probably have to admit defeat and just not go out. By the way, we're going to be looking at how fast can we go. That's going to be on the bottom corner of the screen from telemetry overlay. So I don't actually know how fast we're going to go. First key point of sailing in super light wind is get far forwards on the boat. So by getting far forwards, what that's doing is it's helping to use gravity to hold the sail more outwards. So already we're tickling along quite nicely. We're on an upwind point of sail because our wind indicators are showing us the direction of the wind, and what I'm trying to do is not let them come further towards the boat than 45 degrees. So point number 2, don't try to sail too close to the wind. So 45 degrees on the wind indicators is pretty safe. If it comes any further towards the boat than that, so flying more into the wind than 45 degrees, and I'm just going to turn downwind a little bit more. The reason for that is that we don't want to risk the boat stopping by going too high into the wind, because it's going to take a lot of energy to get the boat moving again. All right, third point is we're staying as still as possible, and any movements that we're making on the boat are very subtle. We don't want to let the boat bounce at all. We don't want to rock the boat forwards and backwards, because what we're trying not to do is upset the flow of water around the hulls and the flow of air around the sails. So I'm just going to get a little bit further forwards. So there we go, and we are cracking along quite nicely. I would say we're probably, my guess is we're doing about 2 knots here. Rapid. Okay, and then if we have a look at our sails, I've actually got 0 tension in the jib sheet or the main sheet. I've just got the sails hanging there, because what's going to kill our speed very effectively, or what we really don't want to do, is have the sails in too tight, because what that's going to do is pretty much stop the boat. So we're really just letting the boat breathe by having the sails pretty loose, and then we can tickle along quite nicely. Right, so let's see how we get on going for a tack. So I'm just going to very gently steer the boat up into the wind, because we're not going to get that wind resistance when we're pointing into the wind. We can use our inertia a little bit more, our forward momentum, to carry us through. So I'm just increasing the rate of turn as we get closer to the wind. And looking at the wind indicators, yeah, we've passed through head to wind. So get the jib onto the new side. And yes, we have stopped at the moment. So I need to cross the boat and pop the battens in the mainsail. All right, so I'm just going to try to be as smooth as possible doing that. Okay, pop in the battens in no wind. We push away slowly and then we lift and pull towards us to get the battens to go. And that actually gives us a little pump to help us get the battens across. Wow, if you can see this, we're going over a reef. Looks pretty shallow. Okay, so successful tack. Very nice. Okay, so there we go. We are definitely going along with no wind. Next important point is we're just going to keep watching the wind indicators 100% of the time, because if the little wind that we've got, if this comes round onto the nose, we need to respond to that before we lose our boat speed. So at the moment we could see these wind indicators coming across at about 45 degrees. But if they came any more into the wind than that, we would definitely want to respond by turning more downwind. Okay, is this the fastest we can go? I don't think she's got that much more in the tank, but yeah, there really is, as you can see, almost no wind at all. If you were to turn up at your sailing venue with the whole day ahead of you and no wind like this, and you could think there's no point to go out sailing, it's always worth getting out, super light wind, and just practicing a bit, especially single-handed. The boat will go a lot quicker, to be fair, single-handed, because there's less weight, so there's less drag coming from the boat. All right, I can even abandon the rudders at this point because there's no load on the rudders. So no load on the rudders, just giving her a little tweak, and then I could come right up to the front of the boat, which is going to lift the rudders out of the water a little bit, meaning we get less drag. We're also extending our waterline length, and we're bringing the sails further forwards like we spoke about earlier. Okay, just coming back to the controls, it is a good idea to keep a hand on the tiller extension, just because steering is important, even in light winds. Okay, so we're just going to sail around this motorboat, and then we're going to take her downwind, go for a jibe, see how that works out. But we are absolutely cooking on gas here. This is flipping hammering it. Whew. Okay. Okay, so I'm now just going to take her down onto a broad reach. The wind indicators are working, so I'm just looking at getting these flying straight across the boat. Here we go. There it is. And again, we haven't had any main sheet on at all the whole time, so we don't have to change anything there. All right, let's go for a jibe. So I'm really going to tiptoe across the boat, try not to disturb things. Here we go, and I'll get the battens to go on the mainsail. I'm going to push the jib across, just getting all that done. And then back forwards into our, I'd have to say, rather comfortable forwards position. Okay, so there you go. I think that is conclusive evidence that yes, it is worth going sailing when there is almost no wind, as long as there's enough wind to lift your wind indicators up on land, then that is enough to be able to sail the boat. Times when it's not worth going out would be if there was a lot of tide or current, or if there were waves. Waves would completely kill any speed that we could get, and tide or current would mean that we'd just be at the will of the tide or current. Thanks for watching. I've been Joe, this is Joyrider TV, and I'll see you soon with some more.